Hi everyone, my name's Alishewa and I'm an educator here at Ripley's Aquarium of Canada, and I am totally excited today because we're going to be talking about my favorite exhibit, which is living coral. And it's super cool because it's the only tank with live coral.
We have many exhibits, including our Rainbow Reef and Dangerous Lagoon, that have an imitation coral. The aquarium commissions artists to create artificial reefs for specific exhibits that are made of concrete, rubber, and non-toxic paint. What are coral? Plant? Animal? Rock? Take a guess. Corals are animals like you and me. They are often mistaken for plants or rocks, but are actually made up of tiny individual animals called polyps, which are tiny invertebrates with translucent bodies and soft stinging tentacles. Now you may wonder, how can a translucent animal become so colorful? Corals get their vibrant colors from symbiotic algae living within their bodies. The corals and algae have a happy mutualistic relationship where both species benefit. This is called symbiosis. The coral gets food and oxygen from the algae, and in turn the algae is safe and protected by the coral. Even though coral polyps have soft bodies, the colony of coral is actually quite hard because of their external skeleton they produce made up of calcium carbonate, which is the same material as eggshells. This barrier protects them from any hungry predators. The living coral exhibit cycles 10,249 liters of water, and like most of the habitats at the aquarium, it's saltwater. Much like the fish in Rainbow Reef, these species are found in the Indo-Pacific region in tropical areas where the water temperature ranges from about 26 degrees to 28 degrees Celsius.
It can be a really challenging exhibit to maintain because of how delicate corals are, but our aquarists are really well versed in their animal care knowledge.
We also have 2 coral nurseries in our back of house that cycle over 1,500 liters of water. When our team receives a new coral, they live in quarantine until they're ready to join the living coral exhibit. The exhibit itself is very special with over 80 species living in symbiosis. All living reefs can be considered a garden and a cityscape rolled into one, and are categorized under 2 major classifications: soft or hard corals. Hard corals have exoskeletons made out of calcium carbonate, whereas a soft coral exoskeleton is made out of keratin. These are some skeletons from our hard corals.
There are over 800 species worldwide of hard corals, which are known for reef building. But let's take a closer look at some of the species represented in our aquarium.
Cauliflower corals are found in shallow reef communities and get their name from looking quite similar to a bulbous head of cauliflower on their surface. Bubble corals have a beautiful pink and purple coloration and are often seen in the aquarium industry. They are often mistaken to be a soft coral because of their balloon-like nature. However, they have a stony skeleton. Soft corals often resemble plant life and are naturally flexible. For example, pulsing xenia, which can be found in lagoons all over the Red Sea to the Indian Ocean, moves in synchronized motion with the water. One of my favorites in this exhibit is the toadstool mushroom leather coral, which is just another soft coral that can be found in the same environments as the pulsing xenia.
I could look at this one for hours.
Lastly, let's appreciate the maxima clam, or the small giant clam. This actually isn't a coral, but a species of mollusk. Interestingly enough, much like coral, they also have a symbiotic relationship with photosynthetic algae. They have been known to grow up to 30 centimeters or 12 inches, which is less than a third of the size of a true giant clam. They perfectly fit in with this beautiful exhibit with their bright pigmentation and beautiful tones.
Let's dive in deeper to this living reef's kaleidoscope of colors.
Corals get their color from their symbiotic algae known as zooxanthellae, living in their tissues. There are different clades of zooxanthellae, all specific to each coral species, and one of the primary photosynthetic pigments found in coral is chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is something I'm sure many of you are familiar with. It's found in plants such as trees and flowers, and much like these plants, it's responsible for the greenish-brown tones in coral.
Fun fact, They can even glow deep red under special circumstances.
Their color is also facilitated by the pigment of over 100 types of proteins categorized as fluorescent and non-fluorescent chromoproteins, based on their absorption and emission properties. Chromoproteins change the color of corals depending on the coral's nutrients and general health, the environment's light, as well as minerals in the water. Good minerals and trace elements help individual chromoproteins express themselves, and various coloring is presented. Non-fluorescent chromoproteins absorb a substantial amount of light. However, they do not re-emit or transmit this light. Over 20 varieties of non-fluorescent chromoproteins have been detected in corals, ranging from bright reds to deep blues. Fluorescent chromoproteins will absorb light of particular colors at a higher energy wavelength and emit or fluoresce a different color at a lower energy wavelength. This creates the almost glowing effect we see in some corals. There are over 80 types of these proteins that radiate vibrant colors like cyan, green, yellow, and red. Corals are incredibly sensitive animals that are easily affected by changing temperatures, human interference, and ecological changes around them. Their reefs are often thought of as structures being built, but they are in fact animals being extended. Corals fabricate their own skeletons far and wide, and a reef is the accumulation of this construct.
Could you imagine if we had our skeletons on the outside of our bodies, growing slowly, being exposed and affected by everything that comes our way? You'd have to withstand a lot to be able to thrive.
Corals are fragile ecosystems threatened by human activities such as overfishing, pollution, and ocean acidification. It's estimated that at least 25% of ocean species directly rely on coral reefs for survival, even though they only cover about 1% of the Earth's surface. So if they're such an integral part of the ecosystem, why are they diminishing so rapidly? Scientists have found that stressor events so harmful they result in coral reef death, are the main cause of this destruction. For instance, El Niño is a recurring climate pattern that occurs every 2 to 7 years. However, it remains incredibly unpredictable. As the warming ocean surface interacts with the atmosphere over the tropical Pacific, chaos ensues for a period of 9 to 12 months, where the warm surface waters blow westwards, interfering with the normal upwelling of cold water.
During this time, phytoplankton and various filter feeders will not get the nutrients that they need, so fish will actually have a decrease in food resources. Entire ecosystems will suffer, impacting coastal fisheries and even disrupting marine ecosystems.
In 1997 to 1998, the strong El Niño climate pattern caused the zooxanthellae in corals to become so stressed they expelled themselves, resulting in coral reefs turning white all around the world. This is known as coral bleaching. There were reports of reefs in all oceans suffering at high rates and dying off. Unless humankind takes action, all coral reefs have the potential to be lost by 2050, which is only 26 years away. Not only does coral bleaching affect marine ecosystems, but it also impacts us in the world above. Over 500,000 people worldwide depend on coral reefs for work, coastal protection, and income in the form of ecotourism. If you have ever gone snorkeling or camping, you have been part of the multi-billion-dollar ecotourism industry. So what can be done to protect the coral population? Coral relocation or transplantation is a restoration technique to mitigate the decline of reefs that has become more popular. It's when experts move corals from an inhospitable environment to pristine, ideal marine habitats. However, it's not as simple as it sounds. Once a recipient site is scouted, there is an assessment that takes place to ensure it is an optimal environment. Factors that scientists look for include water quality, comparative reef density, availability of substrate, algal dominance, coral health, presence of grazers, connectivity between reefs, and of course the proximity to donor sites. Relocation naturally occurs for many animals due to the climate change events or migratory patterns. However, as corals are stationary animals, they need the help of human intervention.
You can help corals too. Everything is interconnected. From what we do at home to Canada today, it will impact the oceans tomorrow and even farther into the future.
Think of all the ways we use energy or produce waste daily, and how we can save and reduce those factors. Protecting coral reefs may initially seem daunting, but focusing on simple daily practices can significantly improve conservation efforts. A key step is reducing waste and energy consumption in our everyday lives. One effective measure is to minimize single-use plastics by opting for reusable alternatives, particularly as we gear up for the approaching summer months. Additionally, as we engage in aquatic activities, it's crucial to choose eco-friendly sunscreen without chemicals like oxybenzone and octinoxate, as they're harmful to marine life.
Thank you all so much for swimming by and learning about the mesmerizing life of living coral. Next time you visit, be sure to check out the habitat's diversity and the stunning array of colors for yourself.